Hi, everybody. Good morning. How are you? Good. Thank you. So, I think, judging from the agenda, I mean, all the English-speaking presenters are put in the morning. I think it's maybe while everybody is still awake. So, so there's less translation that more brain power for translating into Hungarian and all that in your head. Yeah. So, my name is Mun Choong. Call me Munch. My company is Selfdrvn Enterprise. Our HQ is in Singapore. And for the last 3 years, we have been doing a lot of work around employee engagement for our clients in Asia. We have started partnering our partners, Nextend and Crowdhammer here. We believe that with some of our experience and ideas, we want to come here and give you some fresh and interesting perspectives around employee engagement. So let me just start. Right. So, I think, put it very simply, our vision is really to help our clients build a more human workplace. That will help the company transform to meet the challenges of an Industry 4.0 world, where you expect your workforce to be more collaborative, more innovative, more committed to learning and upskilling themselves. But the interesting thing is that we help you do that with a digital solution, right? So we are a technology company. Ever since we started in 2015, we have been recognized actually by some authority in digital as one of the most innovative company in our space. So, for example, IBM, Alibaba, and even in HR, the HR Association recognized us as one of the most innovative employee engagement platform out there. Gartner, who is actually a global technology research company, last year have listed or included us as a representative vendor in a new kind of HR platform. It's not your payroll and leave and claims, but it is a worker engagement platform. So that is something that is really up and coming, because to help companies meet the challenges of actually engaging workers and sometimes who are not employees. So, as I mentioned, we have been doing a lot of work in Asia. So many of our clients are perhaps recognizable to you in this part of the world. People like BNP Paribas and PwC are probably quite well known in Europe as well. So why do our clients engage us? Although the general theme is employee engagement, but these are the example of problem statements, right? Our clients, some of them say, I want to retain and get the best out of my talent. Some of them say they want to motivate more people to learn and upskill. The others say, oh, okay, I want to go beyond learning. I invested in learning. Now, how can I translate all the learning into performance? There are other clients who say, well, our people are all busy, but we want to know and we want to make sure that they are busy with the right things that has a business impact on the company. And the last category is interesting. We started off building our business by doing employee engagement, but more and more our biggest customers actually want us to engage non-employees. They are part-timers, freelancers, contract workers, or even business partners like resellers. And the argument is these people are even more important to engage because you don't pay them a salary, they don't report to you, you don't do their performance appraisal. They can choose to work for you or not. But in some businesses, in some industries, your business success depends on them, right? So there's a need to engage them as well. And this is one of our fastest growing customer segment, if you like. So what drives employee engagement? I want to go through this fairly quickly because everybody have a different definition of what is engagement and what drives engagement. This is one example of it. You know, I think from this picture, you can see that employee engagement is not simple, right? You need to have the right leadership, you need to have the right culture, you need to have the right job design, if you like, and you know, you need to have the right tools and all that. But if you are a HR person and you're responsible for engagement, there are so many things here that you have to deal with. The question is, you are just like everyone else in your company where you have many things to do. You know, the question to all of us would be, so if there are so many different boxes that we have to manage here, and if we have to focus on the top 4 or 5 boxes, what would they be, right? So what will be your guess as your top 3 boxes? Which one of these boxes are important in your view? If you only have an hour a day to work on employee engagement, where would you spend it on? Yes? Meaningful work, yes. Okay, what else? Positive work environment. Okay, good. What else? Oh, okay. Sounds good. Right. So, we did a bit of research, and we have some data that suggests that these boxes that we highlight are more important than others, right? So the first one is autonomy. The second one is clear, transparent goals. The third one is cultural recognition. The fourth one is, of course, learning, training, learning and development, inspiration. And I also want to say that simplifying employees' work is also very important, you know, because if employees working in an environment where it's not easy to do their job, they don't have the right process, the right tools, the right support, even if you do everything else well, eventually the employees will be worn out. They become tired and they give up. So I think first to us, when we design employee engagement for our clients, a question that we often ask is, okay, if I want to engage the employees, the managers, I also want to know how I can make their job simple. Because once I do that for them, they have more reasons to come and talk to me and say, hey, you know, maybe this is the next thing we can do together. And then that's the beginning of engagement, you know, because people start talking to you. And because they have good reasons to talk to you. So why do I pick those boxes? I pick those boxes because of this research that was done in 2015 by a group in the US, where they have interviewed several thousand employees from different industries, and they ask, what will make you go the extra mile? What will make you do great work? What will make you do more than just the basic minimum requirement? Okay, and they analyzed the answers, and this is what they found. They found that the majority of the workers will go the extra mile if they get recognized. Does that make sense to you? Do you feel the same way? Right. The second category, which is the assumption of everybody, HR managers, is, well, you should be self-motivated, you know. So the research found that 13% of people out there are self-motivated. So these are the people who, how should I say, they are children who will do the homework and clean the room without the parents telling them more than 5 times. You know, and you know if you have children that they are the minority, right? So 13% of people, if they are self-motivated, if you give them clear goals, they will do it, right? So clear goals are important, first thing, because you need to take care of these people, right? For majority of people, it's recognition. So the next category is inspiration. And this is again, when you talk about positive environment in the workplace, this is part of a positive workplace. What we have done, for example, in Asia was that we talked to an insurance company in India who for many years couldn't improve their insurance salespeople's performance. So what we did was, by working with some consultants, we went to interview the best salespeople, the worst salespeople, and salespeople who quit. You know, so we asked them, so what's going on? Why? You know, and what we have learned is that even though the training that they receive tell them that you need to talk to the customer 10 times before you get one sale closed, most of them give up after 7 or 8. You know, the training is very clear. The training says you need to talk to your customer 10 times before you get one customer, but most people give up after 7 or 8, right? So what we did differently was that we actually video the employees, the successful employees. We made a video out of their life story, you know, how they started, why they joined the company, how they become successful, what they do every day, what inspires them. And we put out the videos, and sales increased 10%. Training didn't change. There's no change in training, no change in incentive. Sales went up 10%. So what happened is 12% of people out there will go the extra mile. They will keep trying until they get a customer if they are inspired. Okay. The next category, that is the fourth highest category, is autonomy. So ask yourself, how often do you get to make decisions at work? This apparently inspires or motivates 12% of people out there. So while this is a study done in the US, I think maybe it's for you to think about how applicable is something like this in Hungary, because maybe there are cultural differences, right? So if you're able to do these 5 things, including the blue box, which is to give them clear goals, the 4 green boxes will motivate 67% of people out there. And the blue box will motivate 13%. So if you do these 5 things, according to the data, you can motivate 80% of people. Do you believe this? Right. Okay. As I said earlier, probably the fundamental thing we have to do is make sure that we work with the employees, the managers, to make their job simple. Okay, that is the most basic thing you could do to engage employees. All right. The second thing that we have learned by working with customers in Asia is that I think the most of the time we get success because we manage engagement, learning, performance, and recognition together. Okay, so that we are able to say, if you put X dollars of your investment into engagement or learning, you will get Y dollars out of performance. So today, we walk to many companies where this doesn't happen. So the learning and development people are running their own programs. The line managers are managing performance. They have KPIs to meet. And then the engagement person is running engagement surveys. You know? And then the question would be, sometimes you get challenges where you invested millions in learning, but people are not picking it up. Because the line manager will come to you and say, how is this learning relevant to my people's performance? You know? And how do you know that this learning will be applied at work when they do their job? You know? So if you don't have a clear answer to that question, you're not going to get a lot of adoption in the learning. And the only way to solve that problem is you have to manage all this together. Right? The second thing that we learn when we work with clients is that the assumption of many HR practitioners are wrong. You know, so HR very often, your job is to change people. You know, so the joke that I always make is employee engagement is a relationship. You know, your company is trying to build relationship with employees. That's employee engagement. And as with any human relationship, the goal of the end goal of relationship is to change the other person. It's true or not? Just like marriage. Okay, so, but very often that is the challenge, right? You invest in learning and development. You say, hey, go and learn something new like design thinking, and then it doesn't happen, right? So what went wrong? Okay, I think what went wrong is as HR practitioners, we think that as long as I give you the ability and the motivation, you will do it because you're self-motivated. You know, if I explain to you the benefits of learning design thinking, and I spend money to put you in the design thinking class, you will learn design thinking. Okay, so the answer is that doesn't happen. So what's missing? The missing thing is something called trigger, right? So trigger really answer the whole idea of trigger answer the question of why should I do it now, right? So if I were to again take things out of the context of the corporate and to make it more relatable, you know, maybe for example, losing weight is a common goal for a lot of people, right? We eat too well, right? So we all understand the reason for losing weight. You know, it's good for our health, it's good for our image, it's good, etc., etc., etc. So that's the motivational aspect. We are motivated to lose weight because we understand the benefits. Do we have the ability to lose weight? The answer is yes. All the information is available on YouTube. You know, any kinds of diet you want, it's there. You want examples of role models and successful people who have lost weight. They share all the tips and ideas on YouTube for you. You know, you could follow every single thing that they tell you, and maybe it will work for you. But yet, most people don't really take that first step or everyday step to actually do it. Okay. So I think what I hear from a statistics, 92% of New Year resolution didn't happen. You know. So the missing thing in the picture is really this thing called a trigger. So when do people actually successfully lose weight? If you think about it, very often people give themselves a deadline to lose weight because of an event. I'm going to get married because I want to look good in my wedding photos. I will lose weight in the next 3 months. For example, I had a heart attack yesterday. I better lose weight. Right? So those are, if you like, triggers that are not within our control. You know, it's being forced upon us in a way. So the question for all of us as HR practitioners is how do you program or create a trigger in your environment so that the behavior change happen? That is the question, right? So the ideas that we give you there are like goals and deadlines and maybe an event, a competition, etc. So how do you create positive change with technology? So our idea, one of the ideas we have here is that we create something called a quest, you know, on our app, a platform that all your employees have access to. So we call it a challenge that you throw at everybody, right? And then after you spell out the quest, you ask them, do you accept the challenge? Okay, so so what we do is that on our platform, you know, whether you're a learning and development manager, whether you're the compliance manager, whether you're the line manager, you could basically spell out a quest that you would present to your employees. Take for example, if you're the sales manager, you would spell out a sales challenge to the salesperson to say, okay, call 20 customers this week. This is your challenge. You know, if you work in the help desk, then I would say, oh, your challenge is to close 20 tickets on help desk this week. You know, if you close 50 tickets, wow, that's even better. You have outperformed, right? If you are a compliance manager, maybe you want to get every employee to complete an anti-money laundering training. or a prevention of sexual harassment training. This is very popular in Asia, apparently. So, then you put that in as a challenge as well, under learning and development or compliance. So, on one console, one single view, different people who are actually responsible for getting certain things done in the organization can set up challenges, right? It could be learning challenges like learning VR or design thinking or anything like that. Then when the employees come to work, they get notified to say, hey, there are challenges for you. Here is a one-time quest or challenge that you have to complete just once. It could be onboarding. It could be compliance, or it could be learning. And for you to complete a learning challenge like learning VR, then there are 5 steps you have to complete, right? If you complete these 5 steps, then there is a rewards and recognition component where once you complete the steps, the system will automatically say, hey, you now earn a badge called Cyberstar, and you have 10,000 points that you could use to reward yourself in the future, right? So when we do this, we are also introducing the concept of a robo-boss, if you like. So because we are taking away routine supervision work from managers. So maybe these are things that learning and development people have to do, line managers have to do, but now we're automating it. So instead of having to manage this on a daily basis, weekly basis, now the app does it for you. Right? So when somebody did something well, the app also does the work of the manager, the line manager or learning development manager by instantly doing the recognition. Right? And with the badges and points you earn, you could go on the app to go shopping, to get vouchers for Adidas, for other forms of rewards, if you like. So people could instantly understood that if I do the right things, this is the positive outcome for me. And I don't have to wait 1 year for that. If I do it today, then, by end of the week, I'll get something back in return if I do it well. So it's much easier to help your employees understand why they should do it now. Okay? So how have this helped our clients? So this is an example that we did in my own company. I run a technology company with 300 over people. We measure what happened in the company over 3 years when we were growing very rapidly from 86 people to 174 people. Over that period of time, we doubled our headcount, but the level of productivity actually went up 250%. That happened because A, employees are trying harder. B, they get more productive because they're actually learning and applying at the same time, right? The level of quality of our work improved. We are a software company, so we're able to measure software defects or bugs. So we could see that improved 250% as well. And all that in the end impacts the customer satisfaction, which help us, grow our business. This is a controversial slide. When we measure absenteeism, the number of days people stay away from work because they fall sick. In Malaysia, where we run our company, on average, the national average is 9.2 days of sick days for employees. But in our company, our team actually take 5.5 days fewer sick days than the national average, right? Then I actually shared this on LinkedIn, and somebody said, wow, so your people are working so hard, they have no work-life balance. Are you sure they're healthy? The answer is yes, because some of our people participated in a wellness competition within the app itself, and there are people who walk 100,000 steps a week. And there was a guy who hasn't fallen sick for more than 7 years. And that's why they come to work, not because they are not healthy, but because they are more healthy. Another client we have is a global professional service company who try to create a culture of recognition. the challenge is that when they look at the engagement surveys, look at the exit interviews, one of the biggest complaints is employees don't feel recognized. So they say they do very hard work, but managers don't recognize them, and that's why they leave. When we go and interview the managers have valid reasons not to recognize people. They say that, you know what, I'm also very busy. I have, sometimes I forgot to recognize my people, or I'm in a different city from them. So it's a challenge for me to recognize them. So we solve the problem by applying those triggers or digital nudges where, for example, one thing we did was that we allocated a number of points to managers to recognize their people at their decision, right? We put an expiry date on the points. We say, managers, you have 6 months to recognize your team with the points and budget given to you. If the points expire after 6 months, we will distribute it to other teams. So that motivated the managers, right? The second thing that we did was we monitor the behavior of managers on our system. So if they haven't recognized anyone for 30 days, at 8 a.m. in the morning, we will send them a reminder to say, hey, it's been 30 days since you recognized your team. Would you like to recognize Sarah? So we make it easy and convenient for them. So in the end, we managed to get 80% of people in the company recognized 6 months after we launch our platform. This is another example where a company worked with us to try to improve employee wellness. So they are a 5,000 employee company in Singapore. And again, they invested in wellness because the employee engagement survey tells them that employees are concerned about work-life balance and health and so on. They wanted to increase the level of participation of employees. Traditionally, for many years, they get maximum 30% of employees participate in wellness programs, right? So with us, they managed to push the level of participation to 50%. And we ran the daily walking competition on our app with them. From our data, we actually could see that the participants actually walk 22,000 steps a day, which is more than double what is recommended, which is 10,000 steps. And there's a statistic that isn't shown here. On average, the participants lost 6% of their body weight in 3 months. Right? So this is another example where what we apply as trigger actually is successful in changing behavior. So this is the end of my presentation. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to talk to you after this. Yes. I can tell you, even as a technology company, just the system alone doesn't help, right? So I think the education is important. The continuous communication of the benefits is important. The ongoing learning, even learning from failures is important. Sharing of the knowledge sharing of what works and what doesn't work is important. Because people can go to a class and they say, oh, this is how you give good feedback. But to translate that into practice is a journey, right? The first step is you have to get as many people to try first, and that is the hard part for people to do it the first time. And that is where maybe the technology could help, right? But the learning content is important. Maybe the peer learning is important. So the other thing you have to motivate is peer learning. The third thing, maybe which is even more important that has to happen first, is the culture. So whether in the first place people believe in open communication, right? So there are multiple things that we work with, but this is something that we have also done with some companies in the past. So that's something we could talk to you about. Thanks. All right, so okay, definitely there's a difference. There's a different learning curve, I would call it. I think the end goal for many of us in the organization is, I think we understand that at the end of the day, if we want to be successful, we have to build an open culture that is collaborative, where people are comfortable to voice out, whether it is a feedback on idea, right? That's when you get learning, you get innovation. So regardless of whether you're collectivistic or individualistic, I think that is one goal that we all strive to achieve. I would say disregard that cultural difference. Having these digital nudges or trigger definitely helps, because we live in a world where we're all busy, we're all distracted, we're all digitally distracted, right? We need something else to help us focus, and the triggers and the nudges helps. Disregard your culture. The second thing is, I believe is human nature to want to be listened to, whether you're individualistic or collective culture, right? So if you can use the tool as a listening tool, and people know that when they use the tool, they are being heard and action is being taken, it doesn't matter what is your age group, it doesn't matter what is your culture, you will appreciate something like this. Thank you. All right, thanks so much. Fuji, I'll hand it to you.